Hey guys!
Hi! Happy Wednesday!
Happy Wednesday! June 2nd!
Yeah.
Summer has started! Yay!
Well, kinda. Not officially, but yes, unofficially.
Unofficially, school's out. Beautiful warm weather.
We have a hot tub outside, and so we have turned the heater off so that the neighborhood kids can use it as a swimming pool.
So we have a really cold hot tub.
Yeah, a cold tub.
And the neighborhood kids have used it and used it.
So that's good. Yeah, and popsicles and campfires with s'mores, all that fun stuff.
Fudgesicles and soda pop.
And we got Kona Ice this week.
Yeah, Kona Ice. Kona Ice was so good. I hadn't had it in so long. I think it was like VBS the last time I had it.
Me too, I think.
Yeah, it was so good.
A year ago.
You guys notice anything different?
Yeah. Our props.
It's all gone, and you're gonna have to figure it out.
Yep.
We've got a trivia quiz at the end
See
of the
if you remember
lesson.
what we've been studying. And if you haven't been with us while we've been studying, then you're off the hook.
Yeah, but you can still guess, because maybe you could figure them out.
Yeah.
Some of them might be a little difficult, some of them might be easy, but we'll just see. We'll have some fun and do our lesson. And what are we talking about tonight?
I'm pretty sure it's Paul and Paul and Paul and Paul.
I thought we were done with Paul.
Paul. Well, if we're going to recap Paul, there's a ton on Paul. We didn't even cover all of it, just Acts.
14 lessons on Pentecost and the disciples and then Paul. Yeah. Most of them were Paul. At least 10 of the 14 were Paul.
Yeah, we did a lot on Paul.
We're going to recap and talk about that. And we're just going to jump right into it, get the lesson done, and share some testimonies. And we're going to start by reading the Bible. We're going to read.
But stay with us because it's game night. Remember,
it's an awesome game night. We got fun game night. So
and shout out. So
I'm going to get to my Bible. Miss Amanda's got her Bible. And we're going to read. Now, we're going to read a whole chapter because we're going to read the entire life of Paul.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But we'll take turns. That way it's a little more interesting than if just I read it. So
okay.
Here we go.
So if you're following along, we're in Acts chapter 26, so the big 26, and starting in the verse 1, which is the little one. Okay. I'll start us off. It says here, Then Agrippa said to Paul, "You have permission to speak for yourself." So Paul motioned with his hand and began his defense. So he's defending himself in front of Caesar. "King Agrippa, I consider myself fortunate to stand before you today as I make my defense against all the accusations of the Jews, and especially so because you are well acquainted with all the Jewish customs and controversies. Therefore, I beg you to listen to me patiently."
King Agrippa understood all the Jewish laws, so now Paul's going to begin his testimony. He says, "The Jewish people all know the way I have lived ever since I was a child, from the beginning of my life in my own country and also in Jerusalem. They have known me for a long time and can testify, if they're willing, that I conform to the strictest sect of our religion, living as a Pharisee. And now it is because of my hope in what God has promised our ancestors that I'm on trial today. This is the promise our 12 tribes are hoping to see fulfilled as they earnestly serve God day and night. King Agrippa, it is because of this hope that the Jews are accusing me. Why should any of you consider it incredible that God raises the dead?"
It says here, "I too was convinced that I ought to do all that was possible to oppose the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And that is just what I did in Jerusalem." Remember when he was Saul. "On the authority of the chief priests, I put many of the Lord's people in prison, and when they were put to death, I cast my vote against them. Many a time I went from one synagogue to another to have them punished, and I tried to force them to blaspheme, like turn against God. I was so obsessed with persecuting them that I even hunted them down in foreign cities. Sounds like Saul, remember?
Yeah. On one of these journeys, I was going to Damascus with the authority and commission of the chief priests. About noon, King Agrippa, as I was on the road, I saw a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, blazing around me and my companions. We all fell to the ground, and I heard a voice saying to me in Aramaic, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? It is hard for you to kick against the goads."
Then I asked, "Who are you, Lord?" "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting," the Lord replied. "Now get up and stand on your feet. I have appeared to you to appoint you as a servant and as a witness of what you have seen and will see of me. I will rescue you from your own people and from the Gentiles. I am sending you to them to open their eyes and turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan to God, so that they may receive forgiveness of sin and place among those who are sanctified by faith in me."
So then, King Agrippa, I was not disobedient to the vision from heaven. First to those in Damascus, then to those in Jerusalem and in all Judea, and then to the Gentiles. I preached that they should repent and turn to God and demonstrate their repentance by their deeds. That is why some of the Jews seized me in the temple courts and tried to kill me. But God has helped me to this very day. So I stand here and testify to small and great alike. I'm saying nothing beyond what the prophets and Moses said would happen, that the Messiah would suffer and, as the first to rise from the dead, would bring the message of light to his own people and to the Gentiles.
King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know you do. Then Agrippa said to Paul, "Do you think that in such a short time you can persuade me to be a Christian?" Paul replied, "Short time or long, I pray to God that not only you, but all who are listening to me today may become what I am, except for these chains."
As Paul stood before King Agrippa and the governor Festus in chains, he told his whole story. He said, "Listen, I've been a Jew since the day I was born, but I've also been a Roman citizen." He said, "I was born in Cilicia, and I lived in Jerusalem, and I studied under Gamaliel, the greatest teacher of the law there ever was. And not only that, I chose to become a Pharisee, the most, I don't even know how you describe it, the most righteous of the righteous."
Yeah, those who really follow the law and try to make other people follow the law.
Paul said, as far as the law goes, I haven't disobeyed anything.
That's a lot of commands that he hasn't.
And if I did miss a command, I did the sacrifices or whatever it was taken to make it right. Paul was saying, listen, you can't say I did anything wrong growing up. Boy, I wish I could say that.
For real.
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Like poke my sister when I wasn't supposed to, and tickle my sister, and
or
pull her
in
hair.
The car, like me and my sister Sam.
He's not touching me!
Yeah,
He's touching me!
My
He's
mom and dad had to hear that all the time on road
goodness.
trips, and make the invisible line in between us. Don't you
cross this
dare
line.
cross over.
Oh, and then as we got older, we did other things. But Paul said, I obeyed the law as best I could.
Yeah.
He said, as I got older, I realized that this Jesus, that was bad news. The law and the prophets said we should look for the Messiah. But I didn't think Jesus was the Messiah, and so I went after the people who believed in Jesus.
Until Jesus appeared to him, and
That's
a
right.
bright light came, and he was like, oh, what?
We call that Paul's conversion.
That's a big word.
He converted from someone who didn't believe in Jesus to someone who did believe in Jesus.
So that's
He
when he
said,
got saved.
I saw the light.
Yeah.
And he became a Christian. He became a believer, a follower of the way.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, King Agrippa, all I've ever done is what's taught in the Bible. what the prophet said. The prophet said, look for a Messiah. Moses said, look for a Messiah. Moses said, follow the law. The prophet said, follow the law. So guess what Paul did? He followed the law. He looked for the Messiah. And then the Messiah came to him, and he realized, this man that I've been persecuting, that's the one I should be worshiping.
Yes.
So Paul didn't change anything except his belief in Jesus. He still was a Pharisee. He still went around doing everything he could to obey the law. And even when he went to the Gentiles, he told the Gentiles, get saved, get baptized, but still obey.
The Gentiles were those who weren't the Jewish people.
That's right. And there was a big discussion about what part of the law should the Gentiles obey. And they said, well, basically the Ten Commandments. If you follow the Ten Commandments, you'll be just fine. You don't have to obey all the other laws, but at least the Ten Commandments.
Hundreds and hundreds of Jewish laws to follow.
Paul didn't tell anybody not to obey the law, but that's what he was on trial for. He said, listen, all I'm doing is what Moses and the prophets said to do, and the Jews don't like it because I worship Jesus. Yeah. And that's why they've had me arrested. That's why they tried to kill me several times. That's why they're still trying to kill me. And Paul shared his whole testimony with King Agrippa.
But Paul persevered. He would push through, go from synagogue to synagogue and preach about Jesus, and people would be chasing him out of town, go to the next town. He never gave up.
Throwing stones at him, trying to kill him. Just kept going. And finally, he ended up in Rome. He ended up before Caesar, and he even got to teach or preach to Caesar and shared his testimony. In all of that, Paul did exactly what he was supposed to. He followed the law, he followed Moses, he followed the prophets, and he followed the way. He followed Jesus.
Yes.
And he wrote letters to churches at Ephesus, at Rome, in Jerusalem, in Corinth. He wrote letters to Titus, who was a young preacher boy. He wrote letters to Timothy. And as he was finishing off these letters, one time he wrote something really special and wrote it to Timothy. And I want to read that for you. Here it is. He said, I have fought the good fight. I have kept the faith. I have finished my course. Therefore, God has a crown of righteousness for me, and not just for me, but for anyone who follows after God. That's what Paul said.
Yeah, so rewards for following Jesus.
He said the Christian life was like a fight, and I fought as hard as I could. He said it was like a race, and I ran as hard as I could. Not as fast as he could. He ran as hard as he could. He did the best he could. He always did his best.
He was determined.
And God blessed him. And just by his testimony, he was able to have thousands and thousands of people believe. And you know what? 2,000 years later,
we're still reading Acts about Paul.
That's right.
And all the letters that Paul wrote from the guidance of the Holy Spirit, like Ephesians.
That's right. Most of the New Testament are letters that Paul wrote to churches.
Yeah.
Acts was his history, his story. All the rest of them were things that he wrote to churches and said, hey, you guys need to do this, or you need to do that. And we read those verses, we read those books, and we follow them. And that was the story of Paul. But you know what? Paul's story is 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
What would we be like? What would we think if that was it? Paul was the last one. He's the last story we have. We might go, well, that's kind of old. I don't think it works anymore. But we have hundreds and hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of stories.
Stories of Christians
throughout time.
Push through and tell Jesus' story and tell their story, and people getting saved and God's kingdom getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I mean, we have missionary stories. We have stories of evangelists. We have stories of preachers and teachers. We have stories from kids. Do you know, I've been telling my story since I was about, 5, 6 years old. It didn't matter. I told people. My mom said I would go into the military grocery store, and I'd go up to everybody and say, hey, do you love Jesus? Do you love Jesus? Do you love Jesus?
Well,
ever since I was a little kid, I had the kid part down. And as I got older, I also continued to share my testimony. Now, there was a little bit of a time period where I wasn't so sure about sharing my testimony. But
remember, a testimony is your story of how God is working in your life. And
it's
so,
your story of
yeah,
Jesus.
it's your
Miss
story.
Amanda, would you real quick tell your testimony?
Yeah, so we've been telling bits and pieces, so we'll recap what my testimony is, just a short amount. And so, remember, I grew up in a family who loved me, my mom and dad and sisters. We didn't go to church very often. We went on holidays and special occasions, and we went in spurts, so in short time frames. And I knew that God was important, and I would say my little prayers at night, and I knew that he was real. But one day when I was 14, my uncle and I was with my cousin and my little sister, and we were looking through books about end times, and those are kind of scary books to look at, and my uncle asked if I wanted to get saved. Now, at that point, I did pray a prayer and I got baptized, but I kind of did it for the wrong reasons. I wanted to please my family. I wanted to please him. I didn't do it because I truly wanted to follow Jesus. I didn't really even know what that meant. And so when I was in my 20s, there was a man named Billy Graham who's a pastor, and he came and he preached at Paul Brown Stadium, and I was going to First Baptist Church. I was a new member there, and so I went and then realized, hey, Jesus is amazing, and I really want to follow him. And so,
real quick, I bet you Billy Graham preached on "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son." You know how I know that? Because he almost always preached on that. He said, it doesn't get any better than God's love and God's salvation. So he was always preaching on John 3:16.
So then I feel like I truly got saved when I was a grown-up. I was in my 20s. And then I decided I wanted to start serving at First Baptist, and I've been a member there for about 20 years. And so I started serving in preschool children's church. And I didn't know all the stories, I didn't have children's church or youth group when I was growing up, so I didn't know all of the stories that we teach you guys. So I got a kid's Bible, because I tried a grown-up Bible and I didn't understand it. I was like, I don't know what these words even mean. And so then I got a kid's Bible that had pictures, and I would read it, and then when I would serve in preschool children's church, we would act all the stories out and have a blast. And then God kept growing me and teaching me, and I kept serving. And then I started serving in regular children's church and youth, and then married Uncle Buddy, and now we're, children's ministers. And God's really grown me from that early 20-year-old to where I am now. And so he's working through even the streams right now, guys. People all around the world watching and getting to hear about Jesus.
It's so wonderful to hear people's testimony, to hear how they came to Jesus, and they're all different. Yeah. If you were to hear Pastor Rick's testimony, it's different than Miss Amanda's. He was like a big bully, a meanie.
Yeah.
And Jesus got a hold of his heart when he was, I think, like 9 years old, For me, I was a little kid. I was younger than most of you guys. I was 4 years old. Some people would say, a 4-year-old can't understand. Let me tell you,
they can.
A 4-year-old knows when they've been bad. A 4-year-old knows when they've disobeyed, and I knew when I had disobeyed. And I knew that I had done wrong things. And I remember one of our teachers was reading this big missionary story, and we'll have to do that in children's church sometimes, because you got these big books and giant pages, and you flip the page, and she was telling the missionary story. And I thought, wow, I'm just like the kid in that story. I've done bad things, and I need Jesus to forgive me. And so I bowed my head, and I asked Jesus to forgive me. I asked Jesus to come into my heart. Now, he didn't come into my blood pumping muscle, but I gave my life to Jesus, and Jesus gave me the Holy Spirit. And I was just a little kid. And like I said, I would go around telling everybody. I didn't know any different.
When did you get baptized, Uncle Buddy?
I was probably about 8 years old when I got baptized. I was a little bit young. And so I watched my brothers get baptized, but I wasn't quite ready for it. And then as I got a little older, I decided, you know what? I need to get baptized. Now, the Bible says you ought to be baptized. Now, does baptism save you?
Baptism is like a symbol. It's
That's
kind of
right.
like a wedding ring. You know, if I take my wedding ring off, am I still married to Uncle Buddy?
You better be.
Yeah. So baptism is like a symbol, just like my wedding ring is a symbol that I'm married. Baptism is a symbol that I'm saved and follow Jesus.
It's an outward picture of what happened on the inside. So I was about 8 years old when I got baptized, but I grew up in church, and I grew up in some amazing churches. I grew up where people taught, made you memorize, and preached. And wow, we had a soccer team at our church. We had puppets at our church. We had choirs, and I did all those things. And I memorized verses, and I got trophies for memorizing verses.
Yeah.
I memorized everything. Miss Amanda said she really didn't know anything and had to use a children's Bible. I thought I knew everything. I could say all the books of the Bible in less than 30 seconds. You would have thought, oh, he's a Christian know-it-all. But you know what? I realized I really didn't know it all. I knew a lot, and I knew a lot of Bible stories, and I knew a lot of verses. But as I got older and older, I began to tell other people. And as I really got older, I thought, you know what? I want to work with other people and continue teaching. So I went off to college and I studied the Bible and studied the Bible. And then I got a degree, and then I went and got another degree. Then I went and got another degree. I went to college for like 9 years studying the Bible. But you know what? I still don't know it all.
No, but it's fun to read and have the Holy Spirit reveal things to you. You could have read the same thing over and over, and then the third or fourth time, something new comes to mind.
That's right. And about 13 years ago, I was in New Hampshire, and I was a children's pastor. I was a camp speaker. I was a missionary. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And God told us to move to Kentucky. So me and my family at the time moved to Kentucky. We did a little bit of work with Answers in Genesis. I started
the Creation
Museum. That's right. The Ark Encounter. I went to Calvary Baptist Church, and I worked with their kids. And then after about 4 years, I felt like God wanted us to go on. So I took my family, and we went to Hickory Grove. And while we're at Hickory Grove, my wife died.
Yep, April passed away.
My wife, April, passed away.
Of cancer.
And after that, a friend of mine kind of introduced me to Amanda, and I came and visited First Baptist Church. I just kind of sat in the pew and watched everybody, and I was looking for her, but I didn't know she wasn't there that night. But eventually she was there. We met, we got married, and we served in children's ministry.
Yeah.
We worked with the youth. We took the youth to camp. We did stuff with the kids. And then about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, Pastor asked if we would do the children's ministry. And so here I am, the children's pastor, doing live streams with you guys on Wednesday night, acting crazy, acting foolish, and just loving it and loving you guys and loving Jesus. And that's my testimony. And that's the way I want to be for the rest of my life. You know what I want to do when I grow up? I want to keep teaching kids.
Yeah.
I'm
Kids
not grown
are fun.
up yet.
You guys are fun. Good company. Yeah.
I can hardly wait till we get back together. Really soon we're going to start having Sunday school and children's church and Wednesday night activities. They're talking about starting Sunday school for the kids on June 21st. Write that down in your calendar. Here's a pen. Hold your calendar up and I'll write on it. June 21st.
Of course, we're going to try to keep social distancing, so
Yeah,
we'll pray
we'll have
for
to do that.
all those details to be sorted
Probably
out.
have to wear a mask so you don't have to see my crazy face.
Yeah.
But that's our testimony. And that was Paul's testimony. And if you talk to your parents, say, Mom, Dad, how did you get saved? Mom,
Yeah, what's your
Dad,
story?
What's your story? Grandma, Grandpa, what's your story? Now, your grandparents may not be saved. Your parents may not even be saved. Well, that's a good time to find out by asking them. I know in my family, my dad, my mom was saved. My grandma, my grandpa were saved. My great-grandma, my great-grandpa. There was a whole bunch of people in our family, and that's our testimony. And ask people to share their testimony with you. Go up to Pastor Rick sometime and say, hey, Pastor Rick, would you tell me your testimony? I promise you he'd love to do it.
Yep.
You know what?
Yep.
Studying the life of Paul has been so much fun. Seeing it from start to finish. I got one more video about the life of Paul for you to watch. Then we have some other fun things to do. So, are you ready? Buckle up. Here it goes.
My doctrine is not dangerous. My doctrine is not strange. For all that I have said, Moses and the prophets have said before me, that Christ should suffer, die, and rise from the dead.
Rise from the dead? What did I tell you? You're mad, Paul. The man is mad.
You have nearly persuaded me to become a Christian. This man has done nothing wrong.
Very well. You wish to be tried in Rome? Unto Rome you shall go.
Once in Rome, Paul was imprisoned, released, and imprisoned again. But he never abandoned his ministry. From his cell came these written words of love. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving, even as God has forgiven you. And this, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. And finally, having been sentenced to death by Nero, the Roman emperor, Paul wrote this: I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. May the Lord Jesus Christ and his grace be with you. Amen.
Hey guys, that was probably the last one for a while. I bet you
First
really
one.
know the life of Paul, don't you? You probably know Paul better than most of the Bible characters by now, or at least I hope so if you've been watching. You know what? That was the story of Paul, and we've shared our story, but God's not finished. God is still doing things all over the world. And you remember we put that song together Sunday about missions? We want to play it for you again, so buckle up, here we go.
Anytime a heart turns from darkness to light, anytime temptation comes and someone stands to fight, anytime somebody lives to serve and not be served, I know God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in many mighty ways. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today. Anytime in weakness someone falls upon their knees, or dares to speak the truth that sets men free. Anytime the choice is made to stand upon the word, I know God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in many mighty ways. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today. I see a generation standing on the truth in each and every nation. God is on the move. Anytime the gospel stirs a searching soul, and someone says, "Send me, here I go." I know. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is
Well,
That was nice. I think one of my favorite pictures in all of those of our friends in the video that we showed is the last picture where the Brickler boys are showing their neighborhood friends the stream, and they're sitting in the garage watching on a phone. And it's like, yes, guys, that's awesome, inviting people and bringing more people into the kingdom.
well, it's all missing. It's all gone. We put it
All
away.
of our props.
So now it's your turn to see how much you remember.
Yes, so we have trivia. Let's see what you retained from all of these
So
lessons.
we're going to play this and comment your answers and try to keep track of which ones you get right. We'll watch with you. Here we go. Was this souvenir the clue for the title of the book, Paul's shipwreck on Malta, Paul's third missionary journey, or Paul's first missionary journey?
It was Paul's first journey.
That's right.
Was this cloth the clue for Paul's vision and Tabitha, Paul's second journey, Paul's third journey, or Paul's first journey?
What was the cloth used for? A, it was for Paul's vision and raising Tabitha from the dead. Here we go with the next one. I remember what that one is. Was this sign the clue for the birth of Paul, the birth of the church, Paul's third missionary journey, or Pentecost? What do you think?
Yep, it was the birth of the church. B. Happy birthday to the church. All right, you can see that flashlight there. Oh, and yes, us shining it. Was the light the clue for Paul's first journey, the angel freeing the disciples, Paul's third missionary journey, or Paul getting saved?
Do you remember what it was? Looks like you guys are getting the answers correct. That's right, it's D. It was all about Paul getting saved. Here we go with the next one. Were these scrolls the clue for the title of the book, Paul's second missionary journey, Philip and the Ethiopian, or Paul's first missionary journey? Which one?
Yep, it was C, Philip and the Ethiopian for the scrolls. All right, next one here. See that handkerchief? Let's see what the handkerchief stood for. Was it Paul's vision and Tabitha, Paul's shipwreck on Malta, Paul's second journey, or the power of God to heal? What did the handkerchief stand for?
D, the power of God to heal. That's right. Hope you got that one. Here we go. Oh, the lock and keys. Were the lock and keys the clue for the title of the book, Paul's shipwreck on Malta, Paul's third missionary journey, or angel freeing the disciples?
That's right, the angel freeing the disciples when they were in jail. All right, so here's our basket. What do you think it was? What's the basket the clue for? Was it Paul escaping Damascus? Was it Paul's first journey, Paul's third journey, or Paul's journey to Rome? The basket clue, what was it?
It was Paul escaping Damascus. They led him over the wall in a basket. Here we go with the next one. This might be a little bit harder. Was this blindfold the clue for Paul's first missionary journey, Paul's journey to Rome, Paul's physical blindness, or the birth of Paul?
What do you think the blindfold? Yep, Paul was physically blind for 3 whole days. He didn't eat or drink anything.
Here we go.
Yep, here's the next one. It says, it's a ruler, guys. So was the ruler the clue for the 12 disciples, Philip and the Ethiopian, Paul's second journey, or Paul's snake bite?
Or 12 dozen donuts. It was the 12 disciples. Yes, I'm sure you got that one. I bet you're getting them all right.
Yeah, they're smart.
Yep. Here's the candle. What was the candle for? Do you remember? Was the candle the clue for Paul's first missionary journey, Pentecost, Paul's third missionary journey, or Paul's salvation?
Yep, so remember, what was the candle standing for? You're right, standing for Pentecost, the festival when the Holy Spirit came. All right. Oh, yes, an earthquake. All right. The earthquake clue stood for Paul's third journey, the Philippian jailer, Paul's first journey, or Paul's salvation.
The earthquake. That was the Philippian jailer. The whole prison shook and they were freed. Up, there's the snake. What was the snake bite all about? What was this the clue for? Paul's shipwreck, Paul's first journey, Paul on the island of Malta, or Paul's journey to Rome?
Yep, you got it right. Paul on the island of Malta when he got bit by a poisonous snake, but he didn't get hurt. All right, scissors. The scissors are the clue for Paul escaping Damascus, Paul's first journey, Paul's second journey, or Paul's journey to Rome.
Probably one of the hardest ones. It was Paul's second journey. At the end of the journey, remember, he had to get a haircut.
Yep, cut his hair. So
How did
how'd
you
you
do?
do? I bet you did great. We were following along and you all were answering awesomely.
I bet you most of you got all of them right. Congratulations. Yay.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Good job, guys. Smarty pants.
There were
Way
a
to
couple
go.
of them in there that were a little bit tricky, like the snake bite. You could have said that was Paul's journey to Rome because it happened on the journey to Rome. You could have said the island of Malta because that's where the snake bite actually happened. Or you could have said it was the shipwreck because it happened because of the shipwreck. Remember, they all swam the shore and
Yep.
built a fire? So that one was a little tricky. There were a couple of others that were kind of like that.
But
we
you
hope
did
you had fun.
great.
And wow, just think of all the things you remember about the life of Paul now.
Good job.
Well, it's time for, you ready for this?
Random things with Amanda and Buddy.
That time in our program where Buddy and Amanda do random things.
Yes.
And have we got a random thing for you?
Yes.
It's the whole life of Paul in this short, really cool thing that we did. Had a lot of fun doing it, and I want to do it again sometime. So
Yeah,
are you
we'll
ready
have
for
to
this?
have you guys do it too.
I call it Popsicle Paul.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Here's our random thing.
Here's our chain reaction.
Creep, creep, creep in the dark, fear comes to blow out all your lights. Doesn't want you telling everybody that Jesus rules all right. Let your light shine, whoa. Let your light shine, whoa. Let your light shine and let Jesus shine through you. Giant fears are really small when all you see is God. Don't be afraid to stand up tall and give a great big shout. Let your light shine, whoa. Let your light shine, whoa. Let your light shine and let Jesus shine through. 'Cause I'm not scared. I'm gonna let my light shine. And you're not scared. 'Cause you're gonna let your light shine. We're not let your light shine. Whoa, let your light shine. Whoa, let your light shine and let your light shine. Whoa, let your light shine. Whoa, let your light shine and let
What did you think?
That was fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work.
The popsicle reaction's so cool when it goes off. I mean, it goes really, really fast, so we were able to slow it down so you could really savor it.
Yeah, that whole thing only took about 5 or 6 seconds to do.
Yeah, it was like, so
So,
it was really cool.
but we had a lot of fun doing it, and I hope it helps you remember some of the story of the life of Paul. But
Yeah.
now, it is time for
Our game.
our game. We got a game. Oh, have we got a game for you? Miss
They're
Amanda
like charades.
finally talked me into doing charades.
Yes, so we're going to do 3 rounds, and we're going to have you guess. And then also we're going to see, because I don't know what Uncle Buddy's doing, and he doesn't know what I'm doing. So you're going to see, do you think I'm going to win the most points? Or do you think he's going to win the most points? Or do you think we're going to tie and call it an Abunda, because that's our name combined. So do you think Abunda's going to win because we're going to tie? Do you think I'm going to win? Or do you think Uncle Buddy's going to win? I'm going to win.
Let's do rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first.
Okay.
Ready? Here we go.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah.
You get to choose. You want to go first or you want to go second?
I want to go first.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Game on.
So the first round is, the category is chores.
Do we need to scoot the table back so you can stand up and do your thing?
I don't think I need to. I think
Okay.
I can do it from here.
Okay.
I think. So the first clue, because I'm doing the first one, it's a chore, and so you're going to try to guess it. Uncle Buddy and you have 30 seconds to try to guess what I'm doing, and then I'll show you the answer. So,
Are we ready?
I think I'm ready.
Say on your mark, get set, go.
On your mark, get set, go.
It's a dog. Chore collar. Oh. You're taking your dog for a walk.
That was way too easy. I thought it would be harder. Maybe I shouldn't have done. So yes. Well, I don't really follow all the rules of charades.
Okay.
So yes, he gets a point because he guessed it. Ugh. So
I
1
thought
point for Uncle Buddy, and did you get it? It's walking the dog. So
I thought mine were easy, but I don't know.
Walk the
I
dog.
hope they're kind of easy. All right.
Okay.
We ready?
Wait, so you guessed that, so I'll give you this so we can keep track of points. You
Okay.
guessed that one right. Okay.
Here we go. You got to watch
All right, this
carefully
one's
now.
chores. All right, let's see. He's stirring something? He is... I don't know, making dinner? Try it again. Do it again. He's closing something?
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't get the point. I didn't know. What? Okay. Are you cleaning the toilet?
Yes, I'm cleaning the toilet. I thought that would be easy.
Oh my gosh!
Flush the commode, swirl the brush
You're such a
around.
boy. Why would you even choose that? Oh
'Cause
my
I'm a
goodness.
boy.
Okay, fine. You get the point for that. I wouldn't have guessed
It was
that.
kind of hard.
Yeah,
when
that
you
was
first said
harder.
fixing supper, I thought, oh, I hope not.
That's so gross. Okay. All right. So we'll see. Did you get that? Yeah.
Somebody said
Looks
toilet.
like Josh said toilet. All right. All right. So chore number 2. Here we go. Let me see what I have here. Okay. On your mark, get set, go.
Okay.
But I wanted you to be able to guess them too.
Yeah, well, mine may be too hard, so it's not going to be fair if mine are hard. Okay.
All right.
You ready for the next one? Here we go. You ready?
I'm
All
ready.
right.
I need to win one. I don't even have one.
Okay.
Sleepy. Okay, you're getting up. And you're making your bed.
She got it.
Yay! I finally got one. Making your bed. Okay, give me that slip. Give me that slip. Okay. Alright, that's that one. Okay. Alright, now, did you guys get that? Yes, good job. Making the bed, and then someone said gardening for my other ones.
Yep,
Good
watering
job.
plants. They
Good
got
job,
it right.
guys. Alright, last chore. Well, last round of chores. Let's see what mine is.
No more chores. Yay.
Okay.
You ready?
On your mark, get set, go.
She's eating. I know what she's doing. She ate and then she's washing the dishes. She's rinsing them out and putting them in the dishwasher.
Yes! Putting dishes in the dishwasher.
Dishes in the dishwasher.
Load the dishwasher.
Okay.
Alright, he got that one. That's okay.
All right. This one, it might take more than 30 seconds. So if the timer runs out, don't worry about it. Here we
Okay.
go. You ready?
So I have more than 30 seconds?
Maybe.
Okay. Alright, you're driving. And you got there, and you got somewhere, and you're checking labels. Oh, wait, I know. Are you going grocery shopping? Grocery shopping? No? Putting groceries away.
Yeah, groceries.
Yay! I got another one, guys!
Hey, are you guys like us where you take all the bags you can in one trip and you got like 15 bags on this arm and 12 bags on this arm and then you got like the paper towels between your legs and you're waddling up the
Yeah,
house?
I carry as much as I possibly can.
One trip, man.
One
One trip. That's all I want to take.
Yeah. All right. Round 2. The next one is Bible.
Ooh, this might be a little
Let's
harder.
see.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's going to be harder
Groceries.
than
Yep, they were all
chores.
getting groceries. Groceries. Yep.
Groceries. Okay. Here's mine.
You
Let me
ready?
think. Let me think. Wait a minute. Okay. I think I got it.
Here we go.
All right. Ready? Remember, this is Bible.
Making something.
Okay. So I made all of that, and then it's like, sorry. I'm off with my lunch.
It's the little boy feeding, giving his lunch to Jesus to feed the 5,000.
Okay, that's close to what it says. It is that little boy, but what did he give?
2 fish and 5 loaves.
Yes, that was it. Here's 5 loaves and 2 fish. That was kind of hard because I didn't want to keep putting I didn't want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's why I did 5 breads and 2 fish. Yeah, I don't know if you
At
caught
first
on
I
to
thought
that.
she was doing creation, making stuff out of clay, and then the snake came along.
Oh, no,
It's
that
like,
wasn't fish, that wasn't a snake.
And
But
I
I'll
almost,
still give this to you.
And I almost said Adam and Eve, but I wouldn't have known it if you hadn't said, "Oh, I'm
taking
done with
my
this. I'm taking my lunch." Then
Well, I
it's
wanted to
like,
give you guys a chance to guess it.
So,
'Cause
okay.
In my mind, that was easier, but it really wasn't. So.
All right, you ready for mine?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This has a couple of different parts.
Oh, great. Okay, you're a soldier, and you're like, I'm telling you what to do. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar is wanting you to bow down, and the Hebrew voice said no. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace.
I didn't even get to finish. I just did the king and bow down. That ain't.
Well, I mean, come
I
on
had
now.
all this stuff.
Yeah, well, Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, you got that
Yay!
one. Got that one before it even got started.
Yeah, that's what it says. Yes, awesome.
Of course, she could have guessed about anything. I put Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three Hebrew boys, the fiery furnace, anyway.
All right.
You ready?
All right, let's see what I got here. Okay, I got this one. All right.
Moses parting the Red Sea.
Yes!
Oh,
Man,
almost
I
didn't
thought
get
that
that.
was
Was like
gonna be
1 second left. I'm like, who jogged in the Bible? I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
that jogged.
Parting of the Red
I didn't know what it was until you did like this.
Then
It's
I
like
added the water so
and
that
part
you would
is,
know.
Red Sea. Okay.
And no, it wasn't banana, Josh.
Okay.
Jeez. There you go.
This one should be really easy. You ready?
Good, because I need a point here. Oh, someone with a really long beard? Someone listening, counting to 10. Oh. Moses receiving the 10 Commandments and then smashing them.
Moses
Because they were worshiping a golden calf.
Moses and the 10 Commandments.
Yay, I got a slip, guys. All right.
All right.
I can still possibly win this if I can stump Uncle Buddy. All right, let's see. All right, the last one for Bible for me. Let me see what I have here. Okay, we'll see if you can get this.
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go.
Water. Rowing. Is it a storm? Rowing, row. Storm coming. Is it Jesus calming the storm? Yep. Jesus saying, peace be still, and calming the waves.
Man, that was, I guess, easy. Did you guys get it? I hope
bet
got
you
it.
they did. I bet you they did.
All right, here's yours. Yeah, Jesus calms the storm.
Okay.
All right, let's see if I can get it.
All right, here we go. You ready for mine?
All right, I'm ready. Okay, you're hustling. You're getting there quick. You're so fast. Someone said stop. You had to think about something. You open to scripture, scroll, and then you're just looking. Oh yeah, and you're rolling it up, and then someone's coming over, and you're baptizing, and then all right. I think it is the Ethiopian eunuch.
Yes.
Philip. Yes, Philip teaching about the scrolls and baptizing the eunuch.
That was the first one I came up with,
Yes.
and I was so excited because I thought that'll be so fun to do, and it's one of the stories that we did.
Yes. All right, I got that one. All right, last round.
Woo!
Disney. So we'll see what you can guess.
I don't watch a lot of Disney.
Yeah, well, hopefully you won't get these and I'll win. But I want to win fair and square, but we'll see.
Fair and square.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
On your mark, get set, go.
Sour. Good. Rain. Mary Poppins!
Yes!
Teaspoonful of sugar!
Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Almost ran out of time. I
Mary
was like,
Poppins.
what is she doing?
Did you guys get Mary Poppins?
I'm
That's an
thinking all
older
the,
one, so I don't know if you got it.
I'm thinking all the animated ones.
I know.
I didn't think of the live
Yeah,
ones.
it's
Oh
like,
my
got it.
goodness. Okay.
Although I thought I would stump him on that one, and I didn't.
All right, you ready?
All right, did anyone else guess Mary Poppins?
Mary
Someone else?
Poppins. Yep,
Yeah.
the Checha said
Good
Mary
job.
Poppins. Okay, you ready for mine?
I'm ready. Okay, you're looking out. The trees. What'd you find? Aladdin. Three wishes. You're rubbing the lamp. All right. Good job. So I got that one. All right. Okay. Did you guys get it?
Mary Poppins. Somebody was thinking Rapunzel.
Well, that was for the other one, but oh yeah, Aladdin. All right, good.
All right, here we go.
here's
You ready?
this one. Ready?
Climbing up a ladder. Is it Jack and the Beanstalk? No. Is it Rapunzel? It's Rapunzel. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair! Did somebody guess that before you even did
I
it?
know, and you guessed it. There.
Well, it was like climbing up a ladder. It has to be Jack and the Beanstalk or Rapunzel, and I don't know if Jack and the Beanstalk's in Disney.
Okay, so it was Rapunzel. So we got that
Okay,
one.
got that one. All right,
Okay.
ready for mine? Okay. This might be a hard one. I didn't mean to make it hard, but...
Wow. Captain Hook. Okay, Simba.
Yeah!
That was easy. Come on, that's
What's it called? What's it
The
called?
Lion King. Yes? Yay! I get that one. Did you guys guess Lion
I figured
King?
this would give it away. I tried to do like a mane. I didn't really hear. Maybe we should have used props.
Well,
Put
that's
a
okay.
mop on my head. I thought this was
Yeah. Alright, so we have one more.
left.
Alright, don't look.
Oh, you haven't written it?
Well, because I have to do another one because I had done Aladdin too, and you already acted out Aladdin, so let me think of a different one.
I won't look.
Yeah, don't look. I'm going
Somebody
to
said
do,
Tiger King.
I'm going to do, let me think here, guys. I'm going to do,
I have to
Okay.
put a 30-second timer on her just to figure out what she's doing.
alright, I got it.
Okay.
Alright,
Time. Is it Alice in Wonderland?
yes!
Oh my goodness!
Yes! We can't be late, we
I
can't
was
be
like,
late.
Cinderella!
Well, okay. Alice. Yes.
Alice in Wonderland.
All right, I better get this one. This is the last one. Let's
All right,
see.
you'll get this one.
Okay.
Okay. Matter of fact, I think she can get it in if she can get it in 5 seconds, then we'll call it a tie.
No. I'm
Ready?
gonna win fair and square, although I can't win. So voted for me. Oh. Snow White. Seriously?
Try again.
So wait. What? Sleeping Beauty. Oh, did Sleeping Beauty eat an apple? Don't think so.
That was how she fell asleep, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure Snow White ate the apple
Isn't that Sleeping Beauty?
and it was poisonous. No! Sleeping Beauty is Aurora, and she was in a deep sleep, and the Prince Charming had to come kiss her and wake her up.
I thought that was Snow White too.
Oh my goodness.
How did Snow White get up? Prince came and kissed her, right?
I don't remember. You tell me if you know. But how did Sleeping Beauty fall asleep? It wasn't an apple. Does anyone know? I get this. All right, let's count and see how many we each got. All right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 right.
I got 9.
Are you sure? Let me count these.
Count them.
All right, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
How did I get 10? Oh, you gave me 1 because you didn't get it right. Well, that means I got credit for you not getting credit for it.
Oh no,
I
then
got
you
9
got 9.
right. I got 9 right. You got 8
and I
right.
got 8. So if you voted for Buddy, he won. Congrats. Round of applause. Yay! Okay. I'm ready
Okay.
for some shout outs. What about
The
you?
only thing they have in common, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, is the sleeping princess was awakened by a prince, and then they got married.
Okay, so then
Which
Snow
one?
White had the apple, but we don't know about Aurora. Oh, Aurora was a spindle.
Spindle? What's
That's
a spindle?
right. The spinning wheel, like where
Uh-huh.
and so she got pricked by the spindle.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I told you I don't watch Disney.
So why did you choose one you didn't even know?
Because I thought it was easy. Eat the apple, go to sleep. Sleeping Beauty.
Well, Snow White, but that's okay.
Oh,
I
well.
could have gotten a bonus for that. Maybe we really were tied. Maybe it was an Abunda game. What do you guys think?
Should we both get credit for it?
Because, I mean, I guess Snow White, and that's really what it was, because Aurora didn't eat an apple. So, we'll let you decide.
In the
Did
meantime,
Abunda win?
Hey, you guys!
all right, we got shout outs, and our first shout out is to
Brayden! You're
Brayden.
so cute, Brayden! Oh my goodness, look at him in his little UK outfit.
You know what?
I can't even.
Look at that face. If I had to wear a UK shirt, I'd look like that too. All grumpy.
Oh, but he's a Duke fan.
Yeah, the only thing missing with UK is a D and an E.
Oh, rotten. No. You are adorable, Brayden. And look at his picture. I mean, like, he's so cute. I can still see that little face of his baby picture in his 5th grade picture.
Nah, he's
Yes.
a young man in his 5th grade picture.
All right, so here for Brayden, we would like to describe him as thoughtful, athletic.
Playful and considerate.
Definitely.
Big word.
Yes.
It means he thinks about others more than he thinks about himself.
And when he grows up, he wants to be a ball player.
I bet you either basketball or baseball.
Yep, since those are his favorites. Some of his favorite things are Snickers, Hot Cheetos, basketball, baseball.
Fishing, dogs, and horses.
Yes, and-
wow, he likes a lot of stuff.
Yep.
He likes animals too.
And so here, fond memory, I love this. His mama wrote this to me and said, when Brayden was like a little baby, or, well, like a toddler, he could walk around, but he couldn't talk yet. When it was time for bedtime and when it was time for nap time, he would go to his mom and lead her to his crib, and he would reach up for her to pick him up, and then she would put him in his crib. I was like, that is the sweetest thing and about the easiest baby to ever go to bed.
Yeah, tell me
I
about
mean,
it.
that's a piece of cake. Wow, most kids are like crying, they don't want to go to bed, and here's sweet little Brayden like, I'm ready for bed.
Take me and put me in my bed, mommy.
So cute.
Well,
And then we have some memories, fond memories of Brayden.
some of our fond memories of Brayden are he's always up for a game, whether it's Team Kid or something else, whether we want him to play gaga ball or basketball or run a race,
Or
run around the circle
Foursquare.
or whatever we
Yes.
do. He's like ready to do it, and he is always ready to win.
Yeah, he excels at anything with a ball.
Yeah, any kind of sports, I bet
Yeah.
he's great at. I bet you could pick up a tennis racket and be great at tennis. Pick up a hockey stick and be great
I
at
mean,
hockey.
he's just a natural. And so another memory that I have is how thoughtful he is being a big brother. Now, I might embarrass him a little bit, but that's okay, because when his little siblings come, I mean, like Kylie, she's self-sufficient, she doesn't really need much, but how he is with Colton and how he is with Brooklyn, just making sure that they're taken care of. He takes other people's feelings into consideration, and he's such a good big brother. Now, I don't know what he's like at home, Mom, Dad, but he knows how to act in public, and he loves his siblings in public, so you should be proud of him for that.
And as far as character traits go and people in the Bible, Brayden reminds us of James.
Yeah, so we're highlighting his character trait of thoughtfulness as well as
being a big brother.
and competitive.
And competitive. James was really competitive. He and his brother, I bet you they competed who could catch the biggest fish, who could catch the most fish. And they always wanted to be the best and do their best. And many times they talked to Jesus and said, hey, can we do this? Should we do this? You know, they were always on the go, always doing something, just really competitive, but yet they were very considerate too.
Yes, very
So,
thoughtful. So
all
yes,
right.
we think you are
Shout
like
out,
James.
Braden. You are like
Yes.
James.
Congrats, Braden. Happy graduation. We're proud of you.
And here we go. Our next shout out is
One of his BFFs,
Peyton.
Yes. And so we have Peyton here. Oh my goodness, look at him as a baby. Oh my goodness. He looks a little bit like Ashton there, I think. I mean, Ashton looks like he's around that age right now. I'm not sure, but how adorable is that? And so with Peyton, we would describe him as driven, humble.
Athletic and kind-hearted. I mean, look at that face.
I know.
That face couldn't hurt a flea.
And when he grows up, he wants to be an NBA player. But he's smart because he has a backup plan. And his backup plan
Is to be a sports analyst.
So we may see him commentating on ESPN.
Who knows,
one day.
10, 15 years from now, you could turn on your television and Peyton says, and that's how the Bengals did today.
Yep.
They lost.
Hey,
Again.
I hope not. Jeez. Some of his favorites are Funyuns and Pringles.
Basketball and, get this, monkeys.
He's kind of like a monkey. So he has a really funny memory too when he was little. So when Peyton was around 2 years old, his dad walked out to the back deck, which was like around 10 feet off the ground with no stairs. Peyton was just chilling on the couch, watching Barney, and then ran and locked the door and locked his dad out of the house, ran back to watch Barney, and then kept laughing at his dad while he was locked out. Now, his mom wasn't home, so no one else was there to help Dad. So Phil, Dad, had to call a friend to bring a ladder so he could get off the deck. That is hilarious. Oh my goodness, Peyton.
I'm never inviting
That
Peyton
is
to my
so
house.
funny. I wish I had
Actually,
a video.
I
of
have
that.
stairs on my deck, so if you lock
Yeah.
me out, I'd probably just crawl through a window somewhere.
Yeah, we should reenact that with Ashton. That would be
Yep.
totally funny.
Yep.
All right, so other memories. Uncle Buddy, you can start.
One of my first and fondest memories of Peyton, of course, is just how much he loves basketball and how much he loves doing things.
Yeah.
But he's so kind-hearted. I mean, like I remember when we went to camp,
Yeah.
he invited all his buddies and like 3 or 4, I think 4 of his buddies on his basketball or baseball team came with him to camp.
Yeah, and that was so much fun to get to spend that whole week with him and his friends and just be able to bond with Peyton a little bit more, get to know him better. But for me, fond memory for me, I'll embarrass him a little bit. His sweet smile, yes, and how kind-hearted he is towards others. So here's Peyton. You know, he is the type of kid that can get in there and be an athlete and do great at the games, but also he doesn't brag. He doesn't boast at how good he is, even though he's great. And other kids want to be around him because he's got leadership qualities, but he's not prideful. So you have someone who's really humble and is a good leader, and all the kids want to be around him, and he really excels at pretty much everything he does, and he's a really good role model for the kids to look up to.
He's always trying his hardest and doing his best, and because of that and his
The
humbleness,
The character trait that we're highlighting is driven.
driven. He is
Yes,
driven.
he is
whatever
driven.
whatever he sets his mind to do, he
Yeah,
does.
he's motivated to accomplish goals, and he works hard to accomplish
right.
those goals.
He reminds me of the guy
Guess
we
what?
just finished studying.
Paul, yes.
Paul was driven. Whatever Paul thought he should be doing, he did it with all his might. Whether he was throwing Christians in prison,
Which wouldn't have been Peyton's character
no,
since he's so
Peyton
sweet.
wouldn't have done that, but Peyton would do whatever he thought he was supposed to do and do it with all his might.
Yes.
So whether he was throwing Christians in prison or being a Christian being thrown in prison and teaching and preaching, he did it with all his might. He was driven, and that's what Peyton is. So Peyton, you
Yes.
remind us of Paul.
And congratulations and happy graduation to you too. We
And-
love you, Braden, and we love you, Peyton.
And I hope to see both of you on the basketball court someday. You know what's
Yes.
crazy? They're both moving up to youth group. And so between Peyton and Braden
And
Malvin and Alex and some of these
Alex,
guys, they got
yeah.
like a whole basketball team in middle school
Yeah, we could
already.
have a great basketball team if there was a church league.
And I bet you they could whoop up on everybody.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
Now it's time for prize giveaway.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yoo! Prizes, prizes, prizes. Prizes, prizes, prizes. Prizes, prizes, prizes.
Okay.
Here we go.
We'll zoom in and zoom out.
Zoom in, zoom out.
Can you tell what that is?
It's a moon.
No?
It's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Ooh, it's got holes in it. It's a Saturn.
Yeah.
It's a soccer ball.
But it's a really cool splash ball, you know, like the kind that holds a lot of water. So if you're going to the pool, well, if you have a pool, you know how that goes. Hopefully the pool will be open here in July. Yes.
Oh, my watering angles.
Yes, I really want this because we love to play with splash balls whenever we go to
And it's a
Coney
good one.
or places like that. This one will hold a ton of water. So, a cool splash ball, and it feels really nice and squishy. Has a really good material about it. I think you would enjoy it. All right, so there's that. The next one,
Next one, big box, big box.
zoom in.
Zoom in. It's a box. It's a neon. It's neon. It's slime sticks, mixing bowls, spoons, neon and glow. What is it?
Yeah.
Slime.
Sorry, parents. I found this great Nickelodeon slime, so I have been refraining from slime. But hey, the kids can be outside, so why not? You know.
Yep.
So we got some slime.
Slime, slime, slime. And my not so favorite.
Yeah, because remember, Uncle Buddy only likes chocolate, and this is definitely
Well, I
not
like
chocolate.
other candy, but
Because it says gummy.
gummy. I'm a gummy bear.
Yes, gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
So, you know, if our prizes are like lame to you and you'd rather have snacks and
Reese's
treats,
peanut butter cups.
we can totally hook you up.
Hershey's with almonds. Dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Hershey's cookies and
Or
cream.
your favorite Dunkin' Donut.
Whatever you have in mind for prize, you let us know, and that's what we'll put together.
All right, so drum roll, please.
Here we go. And the first winner is
Yay, the Elums!
Elums!
Congratulations!
Woo! Isn't that Braden?
And
Yeah.
Kylie and Brooklyn and Colton will be bringing you a prize. Of course, we'll maintain our social distance and stand in the yard, but we will still bring you something.
throw them at you. Maybe it's
Yeah.
a sponge ball, and I'll get it all wet before I throw it.
Well, Braden wouldn't mind. So, next one is drum roll. Aw, Emma! Congratulations,
Yay! Emma.
Yes, we'll be coming to your house too. Thanks for joining the stream.
We'll send you pictures of the prizes so you
Yeah.
can choose.
We'll text you some pictures to your parents, and then you can choose your prize.
Real quick, a few updates. Church has already started for worship, so if you want to come out at 10:30 on Sunday mornings, we stay socially distant.
Yeah.
You want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. We do Sunday morning worship at 10:30. We do Sunday night at 6, and then we broadcast live at 7 o'clock right after church. We do our Sunday night kids broadcast, and then Wednesday night they have church at 6, and we do our broadcast at 6. It's
yes.
6 o'clock.
So
or
for
it was.
us, Wednesdays at 6 we stream,
And Sundays at 7.
7. And then the kids
That's right.
are
Starting
going to
June
start
14th.
back.
Wait a minute. June 14th.
Oh, yeah.
The adults start Sunday school.
Yep.
June 21st, the kids will start Sunday school.
And children's church.
And children's church. We're
Pray
not-
for us, y'all, because we
it's-
have to brainstorm social distance ideas with kids.
We've got to figure out how to have all you kids together and keep you safe and healthy.
And us
Lots of.
kind
We're going to take
6 feet
baths
apart.
in hand sanitizer. I'm going to put a big pool of hand
At least
sanitizer,
it's
and we'll
warm
just
out, so
dip
we
in
might
it.
could do some outside stuff.
Yeah, some outside stuff.
Yes.
But that starts June 21st. The adults are June 14th. The kids are June 21st.
And depending
we'll let you
on how that goes, hopefully we'll have VBS the end of July.
end of July.
If we
That's
can
what we're
brainstorm
hoping.
how to do it.
That's what we're hoping. In the meantime, we'll see you Sunday.
Yes, bye.
Love you guys.
We
Bye.
love you.